our rate would be substantially higher than 4 cents due to the infrastructure. And so even if we get free electricity, our rates are going to be more than 4 cents. That's a reality. If we get inexpensive power, we're still going to be twice the rate of the place that's selling power for 4 cents. Luckily, we don't have an air conditioning load, but you got to deal with reality.
No. My answer to that is, if you work on getting zero cost energy, and you can put more power on the grid because the infrastructure is already in place to put more power, then you're automatically going to be lowering your costs. Now, it may not get to 4 cents, and I will agree with you. But if you can go from 14, 15 cents down to 8 cents, you're much better. You're certainly in a much better position than we are today.
Another question?
Yes, sir.
We have really extensive oil infrastructure in the state built in the last 60 to 80 years. And we're working hard to try and build a lot of gas infrastructure. And I'd like to know what's going to be different about the gas infrastructure than the oil infrastructure that we're trying to get away from as fast as we possibly can. Because we're talking about using gas as some kind of temporary fuel or a bridge, but there's no discussion of what that means. Like, how do you use the gas to get to the next thing?
There are 2 or 3 things that happen with gas. Right now, gas in Louisiana is very, very inexpensive, but it's very, very expensive here because of capacity. If we had the capacity, the price would be down. I'm not against oil. The problem with oil is it's just its price. But there are some issues with oil that they're working on that they can lower the cost, and that's getting efficient boilers. So I don't think the work stops anywhere, and I don't believe that we stop doing R&D. The only problem that I have with R&D is if the ratepayers ask to pay for it. Now, pharmaceuticals, drugs are very expensive, but the pharmaceuticals don't come and ask us for rebate, for subsidies all the time when they're doing R&D. And that's the problem with Maine. If you went to Alabama and asked them to fund the R&D for all the new technologies, you might raise their price to 6 cents. But we're talking contracts anywhere from 15 to 30 cents when we're doing R&D, and that's my problem. I have to look after Maine people and the cost of the energy to the residents and to the industries. We have people in Aroostook County. We've had some major processors that say, get us affordable energy and we'll come to Maine. But the problem is we have a short growing season and very high cost of doing business. So I think competition is good. That's one major aspect. The other one is the capacity will lower because there's an abundance for the foreseeable future. And while that's happening, if you can lower the cost of energy, you can afford to put more money towards
I'm skeptical because the cost of natural gas has gone up every year for the past 3 years, even in wholesale markets south of us. So you're still at the end of the pipeline, even when you get the pipe here.
Well, I beg to differ there. I don't think we're at the end of the pipeline. I think we're at the beginning of the pipeline because we have to look beyond the United States. We are now in a global world. And I think if we only sit here and say we're at the end of the pipeline, that is status quo, and that's 40 years of, that's renewing the last 40 years, and I don't see that that's going to bring us anything different.
Governor, you want to take one more?
One more.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Not a question, but thank you for coming this morning to the E2Tech Forum. And you participated in 2 of our governor debates 3.5 years ago and won both of those elections. So I hope you'll participate in the debate we're trying to organize for early September. because
you're sponsoring it?
We are. E2 is sponsoring it. And I moderate that, full disclosure, but as you said, I think it's important for the public generally to hear more about energy choices that we face, because our events and...
I will participate in any debate that's not sponsored by the print media. If you know what I mean. I've been reading the papers for the last 3 years. There's no outside for me to attend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We look forward to seeing you.
You've been watching a speech by Governor Paul LePage to the Environmental and Energy Technology Council of Maine on his energy policies.